A man is walking through a dense forest, with his mobile camera rolling. 90 seconds later, the footage cuts to static. Suddenly, from that very moment, the man was never seen or heard from again. Not a shred of his clothing, not his backpack, not even his footprints were ever found. Since that very moment, locals have called this place the forest that eats people, and for over 70 years, it has never stopped. What if I told you there's a forest on this planet right now, where compasses spin in circles, where cameras die without warning, and where dozens of people have walked in and simply never walked out? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at a forest the same way again. This is not a simple story told around a campfire. This is a real, mapped place on Earth. It is hidden deep in the hills of Transylvania, Romania, and it holds a terrifying reputation. Scientists have studied it. The military has investigated it. For decades, normal people have walked into this forest and disappeared. Some returned days later, but their memories were completely gone. This story is important because it forces us to ask a difficult question. What happens when nature stops following the rules of reality? Because inside this forest, the laws of science do not just bend, they completely break. Locals call it Hoia Baciu, but outsiders have a darker name for it. They call it the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. The most famous story happened in 1968. A biologist named Alexandru Sift walked into the forest to study local plants. He never came out. No search team found any trace of him, not a torn jacket, not a broken branch, nothing. For 5 years, his name was just a scary warning for children. Then, in 1973, he reappeared. He walked out of the exact same tree line, wearing the exact same clothes, and he looked not 1 day older. He had no memory of the 5 years that had passed. To him, only a few hours had gone by, and he was not the last. Over the following decades, the disappearances did not stop, they multiplied. Hikers reported sudden sickness the moment they crossed into the forest. Others felt a burning sensation on their skin, as if the air itself was attacking them. Photographers who brought cameras inside found their footage destroyed. Entire memory cards were wiped clean, frame by frame. But this is where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. The real truth was far darker than a simple haunted forest legend. In 1993, a military biologist named Cornel Iancu Coman began a 5-year investigation into the forest. What he found was not ghosts. He measured strange electromagnetic readings strong enough to destroy electronics. He found unexplained burn marks on trees with no fire damage. He found soil samples with strange chemicals that could not be explained by nature. This was not superstition anymore. This was data. And that changes everything. Because if the forest is not haunted, then something else is happening in there. Something far stranger. Here's what most documentaries never tell you. The clearing at the heart of the forest, the one shaped in a near-perfect circle, has never grown a single tree since it was first mapped. It is a dead zone. The trees all around this circle grow in strange, twisted shapes, curving in ways that defy science. But inside the circle, there is absolutely nothing. Local farmers refused to take their cows near it for generations because animals would panic and cry out in fear. Even stranger, People who step inside this circle report that their digital watches completely glitch, often jumping forward or backward in time. Soviet-era scientists secretly tested this exact spot in the 1970s. They found the soil completely sterile, as if a powerful, unknown radioactive energy had burned it from deep beneath the surface. No seeds could grow there. No insects lived in that soil. It was completely dead. Some researchers believe this mystery is geological. They think a massive deposit of strange magnetic minerals is hidden deep under the ground. This hidden force creates a massive magnetic field that destroys electronics and attacks the human mind. It completely breaks your inner ear balance, causing dangerous confusion, terrible hallucinations, and permanent memory loss. But other experts believe it is something far worse, something we do not even have words for yet. And here is the terrifying detail that stops everyone. In 1976, a military helicopter pilot was flying directly above this circular clearing. Suddenly, his navigation systems went dead. He looked down and saw a massive metallic, disc-shaped object hovering silently in the air right above the trees. He managed to take a photograph before the object vanished instantly, without a single sound. Romanian government authorities analyzed this photograph for months. They used their best military technology, but they could never prove it was a fake. It was real. And that is the exact moment this story stops being about a normal forest. It starts being about a much bigger question. What if some places on Earth are not empty wilderness at all? What if they are hidden doorways, places where our reality becomes thin? The people who vanished might not have died in that forest. They may have simply stepped through it into another world. Today, Hoia Baciu still stands, quiet, dense, and watching. Tourists still walk its trails, cameras in hand, laughing nervously at the entrance and falling silent within the first 100 meters. Scientists still bring their instruments. Their compasses still spin. Their equipment still fails at the exact same coordinates it failed at 50 years ago. And every single year, without fail, a handful of people still report the same symptoms Alexandru Sift described over half a century ago. The headaches, the missing time, the overwhelming bone-deep feeling of being watched by something with no shape. Some of them walk out the same day, shaken but unharmed. Others take a little longer to come back. Maybe the truth is simpler than we want it to be. A rare pocket of magnetic anomaly, buried deep beneath the roots, playing tricks on the human mind, bending perception until reality itself feels borrowed. That would be the comfortable answer, the one that lets us sleep at night. But comfortable answers rarely explain vanished decades, helicopter photographs no one can dismiss, or a clearing that has refused to grow a single blade of grass for as long as anyone has kept record. Or maybe some forests were never meant to be understood. Maybe they exist as quiet reminders that the map of this world is nowhere near finished. That somewhere between the trees we have charted and the ones we have not, there are doors we do not yet have the language to describe. And if that is true, then Hoia Baciu is not an exception. It is a warning. A warning that the wild places we have stopped fearing might still deserve our fear. So the next time you find yourself standing at the edge of a forest, one that feels a little too quiet, a little too still, ask yourself the question this story never truly answers. What if the ones who vanished are not lost at all? What if they are simply somewhere we have not learned to look yet? And honestly, if stories like this make you question the world a little more than you did 5 minutes ago, this channel was made for you. Because Hoia Baciu is not the only place like this on Earth. There are others. Places with the same silence, the same missing names, the same unanswered questions buried under decades of dismissed reports. But in the next documentary, we uncover the part nobody talks about. The forest on the other side of the world that scientists were ordered to stop investigating. Some doors were never meant to be reopened.